I've known Marie Planchard at SolidWorks for many years now. Always glad to have her support. We reached out to her, said, we're putting this event together. I really think that people would appreciate hearing from you and the things that are going on over at Dassault. Can you please join us? And of course, very graciously, Marie agreed to join us. And with that, I want to invite Marie to join us on stage. And there you are. Hi, Marie.
Hi. Hi, Pedro. Good to see you all the way
Absolutely.
from the East Coast. This is amazing.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for making time for us. It really is an honor to have you here. Typically the tables are turned and I'm talking to you as you're at your events. So again, just a real pleasure to have you here. It's an honor. I'm going to go ahead and duck out of the way and turn the floor over to you. And I'm sure the people want to hear more from you.
Pedro, I am seeing happy screen sharing. I just want to make sure before you leave.
Sure.
You can see my
I can see your PowerPoint just now. And if you launch your presentation, there you go. I can see your presentation.
All right, great.
All right, see you in a bit.
Thank you. We have the technology. It's always good when you start out to make sure people can see what you're doing and hear what you're doing. I really need to thank Solid Professor Tony and Pedro. Like Pedro said, I've known with my career at SolidWorks, and they have been a great partner. They have been great through this challenging time. And I also want to really thank all of you, educators, administrators, no matter what you teach, the supporters from industry, even if students, for getting up and being here, because we got to be together. I was fortunate when I started my career to work with an amazing team of people, like this team from Solid Professor. This amazing team of people, of engineers, and we were putting some of the largest automation systems in big pharmaceutical and chemical companies all over the world. I was so prepared, or I thought I was so prepared, to teach in a community college for 10 years as mechanical engineering faculty, department chair, STEM outreach coordinator. But nothing prepared me for that first day. The first day when students would come in and say, why am I learning CAD? And then they would have another question. How are you going to help me get a job? And this happened at the beginning of every semester. So let's go to question 1. Why am I learning computer-aided design, or CAD? Almost every product created needs to be designed. And there is a passion behind that, designing. So I ask you on the phone today, what is your passion for product design? Is it your research, like Professor Kong and his exoskeleton? Is it your hobby, like cooking? Or is it your team that you're a mentor for, like Formula SAE or First Robotics? Whatever your passion is for product design is going to come through to your students, whether you're on the ground, hybrid, or virtual. And it's really important to find that passion, especially now. Let's go on to question 2. How are you going to help me get a job? Answer: you will learn how to design products, solve problems, and use SolidWorks. So then comes the next question. What is SolidWorks? SolidWorks is a software application set of tools to design, simulate, and document products, the products that you'll have a passion for. And an engineer or manufacturer uses SolidWorks to design and produce these products. And it's important because SolidWorks is everywhere. Last year, when I flew more miles than a pilot from Delta, every airport I went to, people would recognize the logo on my luggage or on my shirt. There are over 320,000 companies that use SolidWorks and over 120,000 certified users. Mike Puckett is going to talk a little bit more about certification later today. But this certification makes SOLIDWORKS the standard in 3D design. So we take our students very seriously and use my SOLIDWORKS to support them for their career with a career resource roadmap, with student home licensing activation. So if you have SOLIDWORKS on your campus or in your institution, those licenses also can generate a student license for home use. And also we have user groups. And the great thing about what has happened is our user groups all over the world have become virtual. So educators and students can sign up for free and join a user group. Also in my SOLIDWORKS is a series of learning paths and lessons. And I'm happy to report that we now in the certification prep lessons have closed caption. This is something I needed so desperately when I was teaching for my students that were hearing impaired or English as a second language. These closed captions have offered a lot more for students that are of need. And actually, it's kind of goes back to our heritage with Solid Professor. These lessons were created in partnership with them. I also invite you to look at some of the other properties we have that can help you now in the classroom. On the SOLIDWORKS Educator blog, we have a series of tutorials. One young student has recently graduated and has put together an SAE Aero series on the development of a plane, including how to use calibers, measurement, flight. Really a great series of tutorials. And next is the SOLIDWORKS Tech blog. I get so much inspiration from this tech blog, looking at models differently by combining artistry, decals, things like paint and Photoshop in conjunction with SOLIDWORKS. And then the SOLIDWORKS blog, which really pushes us to the limits in simulation and looking at productivity behind simulation, which the advancements of your students as they go on to higher learning will need. And then there's SOLIDWORKS apps for kids. About 6 years ago, we realized that we as SOLIDWORKS community have to start younger, encouraging all students with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, fun STEM learning. These cloud-based apps allow you to share, shape it like digital clay, mech it, which is simple mechanisms and linkages, style it. You can use your camera or images from the web. And my favorite, print it. Because even if you don't have a 3D printer, you can print on paper and fold up a cube with tape and glue and scissors and really have fun with kids. In 1995, SOLIDWORKS was founded with the goal to put 3D CAD on every engineer's desktop. We had part assembly drawn. 25 years later, we have become a collection of applications to help product engineers do their job with simulation, linear and nonlinear, SOLIDWORKS Composer, SOLIDWORKS Electrical, SOLIDWORKS PCB, Visualize that produces amazing renderings, and model-based definition. All of these applications make up the offering to SOLIDWORKS education and our students. So question 2, how are you going to help me get a job? Our customers are using SOLIDWORKS Desktop today, but it is not enough for them to remain competitive. They also have to be cognizant of business and the world around them. And we have taken the technology behind Dassault Systems' 3D Experience platform, the business cloud-based platform that takes a collection of apps and divides them into areas of simulation, 3D modeling, community, and information. And we call this our 3D Experience Works portfolio, building upon SOLIDWORKS with now the cloud and a business platform. And we do the same thing for schools and for teachers. Because new challenges have happened, teaching has evolved even before COVID. There's more access to different devices, touch, mobile, Chromebooks, and a community and collaboration that is needed in the curriculum, both in school and out of school. And there are new challenges for schools and teachers with COVID and virtual classrooms and smarter spending. There is also a need for everything in one safe place, things that we have all gotten used to. We need 3D CAD. We also need team messaging and tools for communication, like Slack, collaborative project and task management you've seen in Microsoft Project, news feeds, inspired by social media like Facebook, and online cloud storage like Dropbox. But now it's all in one place, all in one platform where you can communicate, organize, manage, design, and with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning, be given design guidance, something that students can find very helpful as they start to learn how to design what becomes critical. And so we put together 3D Designer for Education, a suite of apps and tools for students to collaborate seamlessly from anywhere on any device, with a connection back to SOLIDWORKS Desktop. And I'm going to start to explain to you where we begin. We begin with communities. And this is a particular community where we, as an educator, can set up a class, set up a team, get a stream of information about a product, also have an ideation funnel for brainstorming, like a virtual where you put those yellow sticky notes and come up with ideas and document those ideas. And if you're giving a class, you can also use the quiz functionality to be asking your students at the beginning, middle, and end of class, do they get the concept with something short? Couple of questions. Make sure they're participating. Make sure you're understanding if they read your class announcements and course materials. And students can join multiple communities, whether they have different projects or different courses. Communities can be public, private, or secret. This happens to be one of my favorite, the Open COVID Swim community, where anyone can join. It's free. And in this case, a team of students posted their face shield design, part of their product design class last spring for newborn babies. And it became so popular that it was picked up as a qualifying project and is through engineering. And this is exposed to doctors, to engineers, to other educators around the world to check out its validity. And one thing great about communities, as you see on the right-hand side, are all my notifications from a couple of days ago, what I need to do, what I'm reminded to do for certain projects. And on the left-hand side, it's all the communities I belong to. In the 3D experience, there's a community just for teachers, kind of like today, what Solid Professor has done. if you have questions as an educator. There's a place just for you. And there's a place also for students if you have questions and you can interact with other students. The heart of the 3D experience is the dashboard. And I have got to say, with the years of hiring interns and young engineers, if there's anything an engineering student, a design student needs some help in, is project management and product lifecycle management. And with the 3D experience apps, you can manage tasks, create your own Gantt charts, understand the revision process. When someone owns a document in a collaborative space, you don't want to overwrite your syllabus or your PowerPoint presentations. So you can keep track of revisions, of documents, and of models. It's important to understand budgets and also have a collaborative space for the cloud and also a connection to desktop. And of course, there is cloud-based CAD with XDesign and XShape, an ergonomic shape, an ergonomic digital clay type of modeling. In addition, there's the connector back to SOLIDWORKS desktop. So from XDesign app or XShape app, you can go back and forth with desktop. We also, through the 3D Experience EDU team, have a challenge now for students on innovation for sustainability. This allows students to get free access to applications in the 3D Experience platform if they are designing for this challenge. So again, the question comes up. It came up to me quite a lot. How are you going to help me get a job? I can think of no other program that provides more job-ready skills than the SOLIDWORKS Academic Certified Provider Program. In a recent poll to our users, 90% of our commercial users knew about the certification program. Company after company requires certification for a student to even get an interview, let alone a job. These are job skills. These are not watered down exams. They are just what our commercial customers take. And as an academic provider, you can provide these exams to your students. And we just introduced a new set of exploratory exams for the 3D Experience platform. And yes, lifelong learning, I just took the new exams because you're constantly trying to reach the next level of certification as an engineer, as a designer. And so I'm going to bring you, for those of you who are using the program or are thinking about the program, some certification changes that we just announced today. If you are an academic provider, we are going to allow, with a parent or guardian to sign off as a proctor for our exam, the ability for you to give this exam to your students at home. So that's the certification, all of our certification exams through the provider program. In addition, we know that some of you had to cut classes short last semester. And if you need more certification exams this fall because students want to get certified before they go out for that job, we're happy to top off your account and just ask us through the academic provider email. Also, we realize that there may be differences in what you teach in the fall. And we're offering 2 certification exams with lessons for everyone. You do not have to be a SOLIDWORKS customer. Those are our Sustainability Associate exam and our Additive Manufacturing exam. We have lessons in material. We have a Sustainability Design Guide, and we also have lessons through My SOLIDWORKS. You just need guest access. I also want to help you. In my career, there's been some extreme challenges while teaching. 9/11, there was a time that teaching stopped altogether. And also through some budget situations, certain things that you could do stopped altogether. So now you might want to think about a virtual course shift. What if you cannot go back? What if you have to make changes? So the things that you can do, concentrate on design intent and fully defined sketches. This is where students make so many errors. Also think about SOLIDWORKS Composer. You can create a virtual assembly manual, just like Rev Robotics has done, and their information is online for their chassis. How do you put it together with certain tools? How do you disassemble it with certain tools? Again, giving the student this skill set to use good English, active voice, the correct English. And then look at your home. Again, if you cannot go back, a box of crackers is great if you have to explain sheet metal with folding and stress relief. A label on a can of soup or a can of beans can be taken off to coordinate between linear and cylindrical coordinates. And I guarantee you, if you give a project between two students, one is going to choose millimeters, the other is going to choose inches, and they're going to use the wrong scale. So anything you can do with a set of calipers or a ruler is also relevant. And for those of you teaching advanced classes, we have so much virtual information about SOLIDWORKS simulation, looking at NAFEM's benchmarks, the theoretical versus the applied, and really can help with supplementing those lectures that now need to go online. So how are we going to do this? If you are an educator at the Solid Professor Virtual Summit, later on today or tomorrow, you're going to receive an email from Solid Professor with a free offer because you can't do this on your own. And we want to help you now to build your class that's going to be next week or the following weeks. You will get a link to our student store. And if you add the student product to your cart, and very important, select PayPal, it will zero out the cost of both the SOLIDWORKS Student Edition, and that's pretty much with everything, simulation, electrical, visualize, all the apps I talked about for 1 year, and also with the 3D Experience platform with Business Innovator, Industry Innovator. Those give you the dashboard and the collaborative tools. Also with 3D CAD in the cloud with the apps XDesign and XShape. The offer expires to do the download and the registration a week from today. You will get 2 emails for the cloud offer. We will and have to check US export compliance and GDPR regulations. So with that, I say thank you for listening to me. And Pedro, I think I need to turn it back over to you if there's any questions.
Yes. Thank you so much, Marie. We've got plenty of questions actually coming through.
All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, right?
Perfect. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Excellent. There you are. Yeah, so thank you so much for that insight. We've got many questions coming through, so I'm going to pick some here that I've got been tagging. For those of you that have questions that you haven't submitted, put them in the Q&A panel. I should have probably mentioned that before I turned it over to Marie.
Okay.
But we got your attention, and I think we definitely got some good ones in here.
I know. I recognize some of these names, Pedro. This is going to be great.
That's fantastic. Okay, let's get started here. A question that's very general, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it, Marie, is how is XDesign, one of the tools that came up through your presentation, how is it similar or different than SOLIDWORKS?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the similarities, and then I'm going to tell you the differences. X Design is cloud-based, 100% cloud-based. First of all, that is, or let's say that's the difference. But it is feature-based. It is parametric. So there are sketches. You start with a sketch, you add dimensions. There's, you make extrusions, revolve, sweeps, fillets, modify. There's instead of a feature manager, we call it a design manager, but it looks very similar. And it produces prismatic parts pretty simply. Where the major difference is, right now, SOLIDWORKS Desktop provides a whole series of applications that sit with SOLIDWORKS Desktop. So you have simulation, you have electrical, you have visualize. In time, do I see the 3D experience portfolio increasing with more? Most definitely, there will be more apps. I also think one of the differences is if you really want to do ergonomic modeling, X shape is the place to do that. That is an area that SOLIDWORKS over the years has had certainly some good consumer products, good consumer design, but X shape is in a different league, and very easy to use tool.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good perspective. Hopefully we answered your question there. And of course, you can find plenty more information, maybe even visiting some of us a little bit later on throughout the day. I wanted to share this question for you from Bishal that I found really interesting. The gist of it is that there maybe is a lack of facilities and just access to 3D design, specifically in Nepal. But I think we can kind of expand that to different parts of the world where it might be tough. And I'm just really curious, you have a perspective that's pretty global when it comes to the education community.
Right.
How do you think about, partaking in getting 3D out to the masses beyond, where it is today?
Well, that's very appropriate because I'm also responsible for our relationship with the Fab Foundation. And I am happy to say we were supposed to be putting in a Fab Lab in Nepal with SOLIDWORKS this spring. That got stopped. So I did not go to Nepal, but we are hoping to do that with MIT in January and introduce 3D CAD, 3D modeling, high-end skills with a complete Fab Lab in January. And I've got to say, we have done it in Bhutan, and we have done it in Rwanda, and we've done it in Porto Williams in the southernmost tip of South America. Those 3 areas to bring not only 3D CAD, that skill set with SOLIDWORKS, but also in conjunction with the Fab Foundation for the equipment and as Neil Gershenfeld will say, how to design almost anything, the equipment to design. And I'm happy to say that Bhutan has expanded their Fab Lab with SOLIDWORKS to also a series of additional high schools to kind of up the game, the technology of what is needed. So I won't say that it's going to happen overnight. We've been delayed, and I know the program has been successful in other countries, and I hope that it will be when we're able to roll it out. Also, I do know in some of the developing areas, DraftSite has been very popular. This is a 2D CAD application. When you only have wood to deal with or flat material to deal with, it makes sense, right? It's solving a problem. It's helping a community. And so I hope that helps with the answer.
I had no idea that you had such a directed answer.
I do a lot. I'm really, really fortunate, Pedro. it was really hard for me to leave teaching. I loved being a teacher, and SolidWorks has given me an opportunity to take what we've done with software tools and be able to bring it all over the world. And it's the Fab Labs, the maker spaces. And it's also, and I know some of the schools out there have these type of spaces, but the other thing that is also in Nepal that can get you SolidWorks and also in the developing world is our startup program. And we have a lot of companies in our startup program that have an idea, have a business idea. And I really believe that what is going to help this economy right now are the startups, are the young entrepreneurs that come up with an idea. And guess what? We're going to give them the tools. We're going to take a chance on them to get free commercial tools because we need to.
Fantastic perspective there. I was looking at my questions here and suddenly they all vanished, but now they're all back. So now I'm trying to find the ones that I had flagged for you. One in particular here that comes to mind is, does X design couple with an engineering drawing application?
At this time, X design, you would bring your through the SolidWorks connector, you would bring your component back into SolidWorks at this time. Good question. Stay tuned. That's all I can say.
No problem. Got time for a couple more here.
Sure.
Islam wants to know, can the attendees, today's attendees, Islam, you're asking for a lot. Marie already announced a pretty significant freebie for you. But anyway, I'll ask his question. Can the attendees be offered free vouchers for the SolidWorks professional exams?
SolidWorks professional exams. I'm going to defer that to Mike Puckett later this afternoon.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, he's the certification manager. He can do that. Yeah.
Islam, when we resume or when we go on to the rest of the event today, look for Mike Puckett. He's doing a session. That'd be a fantastic question for him. So you can talk to him there. Let's see. We have a question here. Hi, Marie. This is from Steve. Hi, Marie. Will there be a CAM piece?
CAM?
Yeah.
Oh, inside. The answer is yes. So SolidWorks has SolidWorks CAM. That's included in the SolidWorks education offering. You have that now. You have that today. Again, I'm going to say, just like the drawing, the whole idea of the compass and all of those applications, Dassault Systems as a the major engineering and scientific software company in the world has a lot of applications. And one of them is under the brand Delmia. And that is where the manufacturing comes from. And again, in the future, you're going to see Delmia applications available in an education portfolio, and that's pretty soon. So that piece is coming too.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's see. Got time for one more here. I see some very active question submitters trying to find somebody new, somebody different.
Okay.
This one might also be appropriate for Mike. I'm going to ask you, and if you know anything, great. If not, we'll relegate it to Mike as well. But
okay.
The question is, when will X Design have an equivalent certification program to SolidWorks?
So I can answer that question.
Yes.
Right now, the X Design, it has a Explorer exam. That was the round disc that I showed. You need to go through the learning content on my SolidWorks. I would also recommend, don't just concentrate on X Design. I really think everybody out there, if you're going to go in that direction, if you're going to go towards cloud-based CAD, you really want to go through the learning content behind Business Innovator and Industry Innovator. You need to know the whole process of sharing data in the cloud, of dashboards, before you start talking features and sketches. So we're starting that. Again, I would ask Mike Puckett about that question, but we're already there. It's not, you know, I took CSWP exam when it was manually graded, Pedro. A long time ago.
I remember that.
You remember that? It was an 8-hour exam.
Yes.
It's taken us a long time to get to the 15 exams we offer customers, 13 different languages. Okay, you want to take it in Turkish, you could take it in Turkish. So I think over time, you're going to see more and more exams. We are so examed and certification focused that you're going to see it continue.
Great. Marie, that brings us to the end of the time slot that we had reserved with you today. I can't tell you how thankful I am that you were able to join us today. Thank you for answering questions. For those of you that submitted the many questions that remain, we're going to capture those that are appropriate to send to Marie. We will do so we can get some follow-up answers to you.
Yeah, I'll get you the answers, no problem.
And some of them we might be able to answer ourselves, so we'll try and fend for ourselves as well. Marie, once again, thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to have you, have had you. And yeah, thank you for joining us. And maybe we'll see you in some of the other sessions.
I'm looking forward to it, Pedro. Thank you again. And thanks, Tony.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye. Be
Bye-bye,
safe.
Marie.